Hey besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I wanted to take you on a little birthday Megan, silence your phone, please. I'm joined with my sister, who is so rude, did not silence her phone. But what I was trying to say, so rudely, sorry, the camera, oh my god, stop. Oh, no! It's my birthday weekend, and so my sister is visiting, and we wanted to go book shopping. One of the things she requested when she came to visit was she wanted to go to a used bookstore, and I was like, perfect, we can make content. And so we're gonna go book shopping. I might buy a few books. It was my birthday on Friday. I turned 31, and so perhaps I'll buy 31 books. No, I'm just kidding. I will not be doing that.
It's gonna be a lot of books.
But this is my sister, Megan. She is visiting from Massachusetts. We're from New England. We originally grew up in New Hampshire, and she lives in Massachusetts now. I don't know if you needed all that background information, but we're gonna go book shopping, and then we'll probably haul all of our books later, and you'll see what we got. The first bookstore that we went to was Atlanta Vintage Books. I did have a lot of questions about these stock photo people on the outside of the building, but overall inside it had a very cute and nostalgic vibe to it. I don't know about you, but when I go in a used bookstore like this, it really transports me back to my childhood. My sister and I grew up going to these sorts of bookstores with our mom all the time. There was just rows and rows of books in all these different categories, everything that you could possibly think of. There was also very questionable decor. As you might suspect from the name of the bookstore, they specialize in vintage books, classic books. They have a lot of very old copies of things and also special editions of classics. I was really amazed by this set of like British poetry. I'm not really sure what these books are, but they have sprayed edges on them, and they're from like the 1800s. I had no idea that people used to spray edges back then. I thought that was like a modern thing, but these books were so cool. They also were very expensive. They also had this copy of a Stephen King book that was literally over $1,000, which was crazy. Most importantly, they had the real classics like this American Girl doll book. I was more of a Kit girl myself, but if you want this Felicity book, you can head on over to Atlanta Vintage Books. Also, oh my god, does anyone remember this Fever series? This was a book that I read during the dystopian craze, and it was actually so bad, but I read the first 2 books of the trilogy and I never finished it. The absolute best part of this bookstore is that they have 3 cats just running around in there. This one did not want to be my friend, and this gray one is the oldest. They've had him for over 16 years, and this other black one also did not want to be my friend. The next bookstore that we went to was Half Price Books. Let's be honest, you can never go wrong with a Half Price Books. I just love the inside. It feels organized, it feels good. And the books are, how you say, half price. Actually, that's really not true. A lot of times the hardcovers are like $14, and I feel like that's not quite half price if you ask me. This Half Price Books had a staff picks section, which I always love to see in bookstores. And then there was this mystery box of a bunch of comics, as well as a glass case with Funko Pops, and apparently a very rare copy of Sarah J. Maas's Catwoman. I cannot imagine that book is good. My sister was on the phone with her husband asking him what books he wanted her to get him, and then I saw the most beat up copy of the Diviners I've ever seen, and they had the audacity to still sell it for $9.99. Was very intrigued by this book called Nicole on Skis. Apparently it's an erotica series about a girl named Nicole in various different places, and in this one she's on skis. Of course, there was a Colleen Hoover section. We shall never know peace. This woman has a chokehold on the world. And lastly, I did make my sister take these shots of me so I could look like I was aimlessly wandering, looking mysterious in the bookstore, when really we kept having to stop because people kept walking by. The last bookstore that we went to was Book Nook, and I've got to be honest, I didn't really like this bookstore. I thought it was really disorganized, and it was so fucking cold in there. I don't know why. It felt like they did not have the heat on. Also, at this point in the day, I was getting a little hangry because I hadn't eaten anything, so I just didn't really like the vibes in here. But these shots make it look kind of cute. Am I right? Am I right? A very interesting selection of books we have here. Undone by Her Rich Boss and Good Christian Bitches. The only Jane Austen book I could find in this store was Mansfield Park, which is the absolute worst, so no thank you. Among the classics, we of course had Dead Until Dark by Charlene Harris. The True Blood books are classics if you ask anyone. I told my sister I was filming her, but for some reason she kept licking her lips and being weird. And one last shot of me wandering the bookstore, looking like I'm having a good time, looking interested, when truly it was so fucking cold in here. It was like sub-zero. I wanted to leave so much, but I also just needed this shot to finish out the vlog. Okay, we are back from the bookstore. It's definitely not the next day, and we definitely did not put the same outfits on to make it look like it's the same day. So we went to 3 bookstores, as you saw. We went to Atlanta Vintage Books, then we went to Half Price Books, and then we went to Book Nook. Was that what it's called? Maybe? I think so. I think Half Price Books is always just my favorite bookstore. I really enjoyed Atlanta Vintage Books. If you ever want something that's vintage, they definitely have it. But as far as just like getting books that you're looking for, I feel like Half Price Books is a safer way.
Yeah, they have like a lot of sci-fi fantasy, which is where I was looking.
Yeah, and then Book Nook, I didn't like their vibes, and it was really cool.
They had good comic choices, but a lot of the comics were not used. They were brand new, so they're still
so you had to pay
full price.
Yeah.
But if you also want the option of used books while getting your comics, it'd be an okay shop.
Yeah. The first book that I got will not surprise anyone. I did get a copy of a Jane Austen book. It's not Persuasion though. That might surprise you, because every book haul I've done like the last year, I was upside down, has literally been a copy of Persuasion at some point. But this is Sense and Sensibility. It's always a hard title to say.
Sense and Sensibility?
Okay.
Even I can say it.
Don't brag. This is from the Chiltern Classics series. I definitely want to collect all of Jane Austen's books in this style, and so I thought, why not get this one? Because Half Price Books was selling it for $17.99. They're normally $25, and this was brand new. So I was like, don't mind if I do. So if you have a Half Price Books near you and you've been wanting to start collecting these, I absolutely recommend that you go over there.
Case Files, the 4-Minute Forensic Mysteries. I picked up in the children's section at that last bookstore. I have the green version, which I believe is book 1 at home, and my husband and I debate over who owns it, whether or not I stole it from him and wrote our maiden name in it.
Like word puzzles kind of?
So they're like a detective story. They're like 4-minute detective story, and then it asks you to solve the mystery. The book I have at home, I actually bought the Scholastic Book Fair, although Will is convinced.
When you were a child?
Yeah, when I was in middle school.
She's trying to really complete the series many years later. The next book that I got just because I really wanted to support Atlanta Vintage Bookstore. I really liked the vibes there. It was really cool, but they didn't have any Jane Austen. I really would have liked to get like a collector's or vintage style. They had a lot of like rare books there. I will say a lot of them were quite expensive, but I would have really liked something. But I asked them if they had Jane Austen. They said they don't often get it in, and if they do, it goes really quickly. If you like Charles Dickens, they have so much Dickens there. But I saw this copy of Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, and it is so beautiful. I'm not even an Alice in Wonderland stan. Like, I genuinely have not really read it. I've read like part of it once, like a long time ago, like maybe in like middle school or high school. But this was just really beautiful. I really liked the end paper, and I just loved this gold foil design. And there's like little hearts on the side. I don't know if you can see that.
This is a book for my husband, because that's my entire book haul. It's a Piers Anthony book. It's a Xanth novel. It's a spell for chameleon. I had to look at the cover to say it. I have no idea what number in the series this is. Literally, other than it's a Xanth novel, I know nothing about it. That's what I know about this book. And it is, I believe, sci-fi. I don't know. Is it fantasy or is it sci-fi?
Do you not see something with wings on it?
That doesn't mean it's not sci-fi. I don't know.
It literally says on the back, British Novel of the Year. British.
I lied. It's fantasy.
Okay, the next book I bought, honestly, the next 2 books I bought were just random, like, mass market paperback romances that I saw that I loved the cover of. I don't know what they're about. They seem like they're probably cheesy, but I kind of just randomly decided that from now on, I kind of want to collect books like this that just have ridiculous covers. You know, the really, like, quintessential old, like, mass market paperback Harlequin type romance sort of thing. And so there's this one called Silver Angel by Joanna Lindsay. This was literally $1 at Half Price Books because it was on sale, and I just love how iconic this cover is. I like the font. I love how flowy her hair is, and on the back it says Silver Angel, kidnapped and sold into slavery. Chantal Burke was led into the Pasha's scented chambers, swearing she'd never surrender to this ruthless master, but she was stunned by the magnificently handsome man who awaited her amid the silken splendor. His piercing emerald eyes held her in their power. His muscular embrace made her weak with desire, even as she defied him. She was his to do with as he would, yet this mysterious stranger, whose Eastern garb concealed his true identity, touched her only with tenderness, driving her wild with new sensation, his scorching kisses igniting the fires of her very soul, and sweeping her beyond the harem walls into a palace of love's eternal dream. Dubious consent there? Yeah, I don't know. The consent is interesting. But I kind of want to read it. I don't know. I have this idea of like maybe collecting some of these like ridiculous book covers and like old-fashioned sort of romances and doing a vlog. I don't know what I would call it though. Like reading the most ridiculous romance I could find or something. I don't know. Because in one of my earlier vlogs that I did last year, I actually found a book by Fabio. And so I just think it'd be hilarious to read all these books, including the one by Fabio. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share my last book because Megan has quite a few to show, and mine is in a similar vein of the last one, where it is one of those like mass market paperback romances. I cannot speak today, but this is another one that I found. This was, I believe, $1.99 on Half Price Books, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna cop that. I love the colors on this and I love the font. Like, I don't feel like I've ever really seen a cover like this for one of these like old romances. I love it. There's like medieval vibes. I like the blue, the orange. It just has like good energy. I don't know about the actual story because the back of it says she would save the lives and fortunes of her village. Swept from her home as hostage, beautiful chestnut-haired Kristen Winchelsea was the spirited charge of the handsome rebel leader Patrick Mowbray. She was an honorable Saxon and would die before she surrendered to this heathen Scot, known and hated throughout England for his ruthless treachery to the British crown. In the conquering arms of her enemy, born a conqueror, the Scotsman with the arrogant brown eyes had met his match in the beautiful Lady Winchelsea. Never was there a woman who inspired him in such fierce desires, such gentle love. Now deep in the desolate Scottish Highlands, thrust into the violence of battle, Kristen and the rebel Mowbray are locked in their own war, torn between treachery and longing, treason and desire, love and death.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah, you know, questionable consent, hostages,
Stockholm Syndrome.
Stockholm Syndrome, yes. Yeah, they definitely, yeah, I think they laid down the groundwork for the current genre of dark romance, for sure, for sure. But I might read these, I don't know, or I might just put them on my shelf. I think it'd be fun to just like have a collection of books like this that I find that I just think are funny.
So the next one is also a Piers Anthony book. It is called Cube Route. I have no idea what it's about.
The 27th all-new adventure.
Well, it's a Xanth series book.
Oh, okay, so this is from the same series.
Yes, it says on the back. We have a John Scalzi.
Yeah, he's a pretty popular sci-fi author.
I know nothing about him. I literally didn't know he existed until my husband sent me the list. I think Will said it's part of like a trio series.
A trilogy?
Trilogy. John Scalzi, I believe this might also be in it, or this might be one of the other, this might actually be the trilogy and that might have been a different series.
I mean, these kind of look like they go together.
They could, or it could just be because he's a sci-fi author.
Also, we basically refuse to tell you what Will's books are about. Basically, we went book shopping and she was like, I'm only getting books for my husband, except for that like Case Files book that she got. They're like all for her husband because apparently.
I don't really buy hardcovers. I'm very picky. I pretty much have my Patricia Briggs.
Yeah, she loves the Patricia Briggs.
I have some Lindsay Sands, those weird vampire romances of the Argus series. And then the last book is Green Mars by Kim Stanley Robinson. By the way, I thought this was a woman when my husband gave me the name, but apparently this is a man.
I like this cover the best. I think it's interesting.
I guess there's like a red Mars and some other color Mars. So we got two from the Jessica Jones Alias series. Then they have Harley Quinn. My husband has this in the hardcover version, but it's the only one in the series he has in hardcover, and it drives him crazy because he likes them either all be hardcover, all be softcover. Prefers the softcover. So I got this one, and then that one's the Birds of Prey, which he has.
Oh, I love
different version of Birds of Prey.
Did you see the movie for this?
Yeah.
I really like the movie.
Will said he didn't have it, but I'm pretty sure he does have Birds of Prey. I think he might just have a bigger collection. So I might have gotten that unnecessarily.
She basically just got books for Will, and then one random Case Files, Crime Files book.
For nostalgia purposes, I'm not even gonna read it.
Finishing your collection literally 15 years later.
You know, the thing is though, I'll probably read those stories to my oldest.
Megan is the keeper of all the grandchildren for my parents because I will not be partaking in child rearing, so.
Yes, but I'm finally having a girl after 3 boys.
Oh yeah, she has 3 boys and she's pregnant with a girl now.
Yeah, she's gonna have to learn how to box, I think. The boys are a little rough. They're rough. They're rough with each other. Riley, sometimes my niece, has some trouble keeping up.
If you made it to the end of this video and you enjoyed it, feel free to use the stack of book emojis to let us know that you made it here. And yeah, we thank you so much for watching. You're all beautiful.
Have a great day.
Have a nice day.